Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 96 of the Under Review podcast. Marty will not be joining us. It'll be me and Justin here. We got 4 bowl games to go over, and then we're going over the 4, I guess it'll be quarterfinal games for the playoffs. A lot of matchups, a lot of good games to be played. The SEC's really not been performing here in the bowl season, so here's their chance to turn it around with these last 4 games and then the rest of the playoffs. We'll talk about all that and more up next on the Under Review podcast. Like I said, Marty will not be joining us. It'll be Justin here for episode 96 to help us go through the last of the SEC's regular ball games and then the rest of the quarterfinal matchups. The SEC's not been performing good, like I just said. Virginia they came back, they beat Missouri, and then LSU miraculously lost to Houston.
Man, honestly, like Missouri's biggest flop out of all of them. I mean, there was some top of Missouri when they were, going when actually Alabama went in to Missouri to play them when they were undefeated, and really ever since that game when they played Alabama, it's just been a flop ever since.
Well, again, both people he didn't play. Zoller's true freshman guy. I don't think he really was there for the light. He had flashes this year when he played good, but not against the SEC or the ACC in this situation. But I mean, at one point they were leading 13-7 going into the fourth quarter, and then they just kind of gave it away. And then the same thing. I don't know. I haven't been watching a lot of bowl games this season, but Houston does defeat LSU in the Texas Bowl, 38-35. I mean, Van Buren did have a good game. He went 267 yards for 3 touchdowns. But besides that,
I mean, I've seen a lot of negative publicity on, Lane Kiffin, how he showed up to do his interview on TV, then he just hopped in the car and left. Everybody's like, I think this is supposed to be your team. Shouldn't you be watching them? But on the other end of the aspect, too, yeah, he could sit there and watch him, cool, but it's not going to be the same program as what he's watching now is going into week 1 of 2026, Why sit there when that's not going to be the same players, the same schemes, nothing's going to be the same. I mean, I see both sides of it.
Yeah, well, let's start with tomorrow's matchup. We have the 8-4 Tennessee Volunteers, 4:30 ESPN taking on the Fighting Illini in the Music City Bowl.
Man, Tennessee's almost the same way as Missouri, though. I mean, Tennessee, they had their highs and they've had their extreme lows this season, too. So, I mean, which Tennessee are you really getting? And from the beginning of the season, I never bought the hype of their quarterback that they were just so loving. I just never seen it. So, I mean, honestly, it's a coin flip to me. It's what goes up for Tennessee.
I mean, you got Deshaun Bishop. He's a great running back. Star Thomas to back him up, who's another great running back. But like you said, the hype around Joey Aguilar this season has been kind of overhyped. And I can agree with that to an extent of what he was at Appalachian State, which, me and Marty talked about at the beginning of the season. This kid is coming from a Sun Belt conference into an SEC conference. It's totally different. You're playing against the best of the best now. So you have to strap on your helmet and chin strap every play and play like real football, I will say. Very competitive, smart. When you go into the Sun Belt, you can make some dumb mistakes. And I'm not saying Sun Belt's a bad conference. There is some hidden gems in their players. But I'm just saying, that elite talent inside the SEC is not what you're going to find inside the Sun Belt.
Oh yeah, because I mean the lights are always brighter when it comes to SEC conference, and the history of Tennessee as a whole university. He really does carry a lot of weight. I mean, football wise, they haven't been the best in years, but I mean, still, I mean, you got the tradition, and the fans are still support the orange and black team every Saturday.
Right. So, where are we going? We're in Nashville for this game. So it's kind of like a home game for Tennessee here.
I'd say the spread's probably -6 Tennessee's way, I would assume.
It's -3.
Oh, really?
Negative,
Okay.
well, -3.5. It started at -6.5, so you did have it right there.
Damn. So I wonder why they're swinging it the other way. Is somebody not playing for Tennessee side of the game?
Like I said, I've been so out of it right now for bowl season. So it's
So when you told me the news of LSU and Missouri, I saw LSU played Houston, but I didn't look at the final score. I mean, I've
yeah.
been getting ready. I've been busy myself, so
So what you think in this game?
I would say Tennessee by 6. That would be my bet line.
Yeah, I mean Tennessee comes in 67% via ESPN. Technically, it's a home game. You're playing at 4:30. Fans are going to travel to Nashville from Knoxville. I mean, you're going to overpack it more than Illinois is. So I mean, it's pretty much a home game, and Tennessee's pretty decent at home. I won't say they're the best, but they're pretty decent at home. So I'm gonna go Tennessee, but I'm going more on the lines of a 14-point win here.
Okay. So you saying they're going to score late in the fourth quarter to get you that spread?
Yeah. I think they're going to get it right there near the end. Then this next game we're going to play is going to be on Wednesday, December 31st at the Real Quest Bowl between the 23-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes versus the 14th-ranked Vanderbilt Commodores at 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Man, I'm assuming here, as much smack as he's been talking, I'm assuming Vanderbilt is probably coming in as a full roster playing this game. I haven't seen nothing otherwise.
I would think so, yeah.
Man, I mean, Diego Pavia, with all the negative publicity he had after the whole Heisman stunt, I hope he gets his head straight and narrowed in. But, I mean, honestly, I think Vanderbilt's probably going to come in there mad, with a chip on their shoulder since they didn't make the playoffs, and I feel like in some right way they were deservingly that they needed and at least. I think Vanderbilt's going to win this game, especially if they're playing as a full roster. I mean, Iowa look good at times during the season. They have flashes. But like you said earlier, SEC is the best conference in my opinion in the nation, and I give Vanderbilt probably a -10 spread on this one.
All right, so Vanderbilt's at a -5.5. And to piggyback what you said off of the SEC being the best conference, so yes, I agree with that. But you're seeing better teams inside the SEC, so they're beating up on each other, and that's why two Big Ten teams are sitting at 1-2 this season.
That's right.
So because you get Alabama and Georgia, LSU kind of beat themselves up all season. Texas A&M lost two games there at the end of the season. Texas, Oklahoma, all these teams, Ole Miss, they're there. They're good. They're just beating up on each other, so it's not like one team solidifies herself inside the SEC, which on Vanderbilt or on Indiana and Ohio State side, they played in a Big Ten conference, which they didn't get much of the fight back for, who they're playing. They're playing the Rutgers and the Purdue's and the Michigan States of their conference. Okay, so did Texas A&M. They played, I think Indiana played Oregon. Okay, they beat Oregon in a pretty good game. Then they beat Ohio State in the championship game. And then we're starting to look at who Ohio State played. They played Michigan, and then Indiana. You play two good teams out of your conference, but you don't play each other. It kind of off balance itself when you're every week in the ACC. You're playing a top 10 team or a top 25 team. Like Alabama went on that 4-game win streak of all. Was it top 25 or is it top 10?
I think it's top 15.
Yeah. So the Vanderbilts, the Texas, all these teams that were ranked inside the top 15, and you're playing them every week. It's different.
And you said like that, you take that to Missouri. Missouri had a gauntlet towards the end of the season. Like you said, Bo Papula got hurt at one point in time. Their starting running back, I forget his name off the top of my head.
Ahmad Hardy.
Yeah, I thought his last name was Hardy. I think he got, a little banged up towards the end of the season too. I mean, and he still finished strong, stat-wise goes. But,
yeah, you had 1,600 rushing yards.
Like you said, SEC, you do beat yourself up. It is a full test of a full team.
Yeah, and it's not like with the Big Ten, you have a good quarterback, a good running back, maybe a good wide receiver, and then that's it. But in the SEC, you need to have the rotation because once that player gets cold, or once that player gets hurt, or something's up, you got to have a good backup to come in and fill that shoes. Which I think we'll talk about that more here in Alabama. That's kind of what hurt Alabama in most of that predicament of the running back. Not saying the guys behind him wasn't good; they're just not seasoned, not more. What's the word I'm looking for here? Not big. What's it? Game time. God dang it! I can't think of the word.
Game time ready. Don't have
game time reps.
They don't. They're not veteran mentality yet.
Yeah. So back to the Iowa and Vanderbilt game here. I think I think he does. I think he does play. Because I don't really see an NFL team caring about Pavia. So I think he's going to play. That's Pavia's mindset. He's going to play. He don't care. If that's the case, I think Vanderbilt will run away with this. Iowa's known for a Big Ten defense. I really don't understand what that means because Big Ten teams don't play defense from what I've seen.
Yeah.
So I think this one could get ugly near the end. It could be first half. It could be a close one. But I think starting that second half and going on, I think Vanderbilt could win this one by 17.
Okay. Now I figured 10, and that's being on the safe side.
Right.
Yeah, but I agree. Once Pavia finds his stroke and his swag during the game, I mean, he can drop 50 points on anybody, and
Auburn.
he done it on Alabama, and he done it on Auburn too. I mean, he's done it. He is that guy. But I agree. I think he's gonna get that Shador Sanders draft thought going for him just because of his.
Yeah, and then we're going to jump in to the same day, the 31st, 2 p.m. on ABC. We're going to do the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, which brings us 18 Michigan Wolverines versus the 13th ranked Texas Longhorns.
Man, see, another one that I don't believe in the hype of, and that's Bryce Underwood. I mean, I just never truly seen. Now, I don't think Michigan as a whole, as a surrounding core, was as good as what they hyped him up to be. Then what happened with our head coach with Moore and that whole debacle that went. Where's the mindset of the team going to be? That's a good question you're going to have. And Texas don't have question marks going around it. And I even seen that Archie Manning took a lesser NIL deal for next season so they can build a roster even more. I mean, and that's being a team player, in my opinion. I respect Archie for that.
If that's true, I don't believe it. I think Arch is all about his head because he knows his game is not as good as his money will be. Do I see Arch Manning being an NFL top style quarterback? I don't. Do I believe the hype of either one of these quarterbacks? I don't. I did like Bryce Underwood when he came in. Smart that he didn't go to LSU last year. But, you get that starting position. He is a true freshman. He's only thrown 9 touchdowns this season to 6 interceptions, which ain't great, but almost 2,300 yards passing. I mean, that's pretty good. But you also got to think, though, he don't have anybody to really work for him. Moore wasn't the coach that he wanted. He wanted Harbaugh, but Harbaugh was already gone way past this point. I think him and Harbaugh could have had something going, but going back to Michigan, not knowing what they're doing or what they're doing.
Well, I mean, that's the same way though. Could you imagine if he did end up going to LSU, he would have Lane Kiffin right now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Lane Kiffin and Bryce Underwood and the style of play Lane plays?
But we're also not saying that Bryce Underwood don't hit the portal at the end of this year and then turn around and go to LSU.
I heard there was rumors that
Yeah,
Bryce.
okay, you're hearing the same things.
I've heard the rumors, especially with the whole head coach debacle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know much about the guy they hired in from Washington. I think that was no, it's Utah. Utah.
Oh, Todd yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I never really watched much Pac-12 play, so I don't know much about him. But I'll say this: I think there's less. What's the words to put here? I think there's less drama surrounding the Longhorns, and they know what they have as a team,
Right.
and they're together mentally, mentality wise. As long as plays as a whole team, I haven't seen nobody opt out. But and I think this what you want to call a down year for Texas, maybe just because of the hype they had with Quentin Ewers. But I truly think Texas can be a solid team. Is Archie Manning what everybody believes he can be? No, not this season. But again, first season in the SEC, that's a hard battle to bite. And so, can you take that sophomore to junior year jump and prove it's different next year? That's one to see.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also other guys that were, C.J. Baxter, who was a running back for them, is gone. But I haven't seen a lot of people opting out of bowl games this year. I've seen not star players, i.e. Diego Pavias or for instance, the Mendozas, people, well, he won't. But, the main card people of these offenses, that in the past years was like, oh, we didn't play nowhere. I'm not playing this ball game. Now, you get the transfer guys, that's understandable, but you're not getting the starting quarterbacks or the starting offensive linemen. Nothing crazy this year.
Yeah, because you always seen on Twitter, Facebook, well, I'm opting out for the NFL. Well, to me, why would you want to draft somebody that's opting themselves out because they're only worried about themselves and not being a team player, and I would rather have a team player.
Yeah. So what are we sitting at here?
Michigan, Texas. Point spread is probably sitting at a -6. I think it'll end up being a -17.
So it's sitting at -7 for Texas. But I do think Texas is going to win this one. I don't think, like I said, Michigan 9-3, same record as Texas. Yes, but I think who they played. They've lost to Oklahoma. Texas annihilated Oklahoma. They've also lost to Ohio State, but so has Texas. But that's the beginning of the season. But then you look at their wins. They beat New Mexico. They beat Central Michigan. They beat Adilla Rayola of Nebraska, Wisconsin, Washington, Michigan State, Purdue, Northwestern. Again, beating up on the teams at the bottom doesn't solidify me in the Big Ten that you're good.
Yeah. You're doing what you
right. I think, everybody except for UCLA and Penn State that they beat were at the bottom of their conference. That don't help me none. But Texas is out here. They're beating Texas A&M. They're beating all these others. I think Texas has a good chance to roll away with it. But again, it is bowl season. It could be totally different. So I'm going 10 for Texas.
And that's the thing, too. I mean, yeah, Texas lost to Florida, but, I mean, they were this close at the end of the game to come back and actually winning that game. So, I mean, you're really just one solid play away from coming back and you're 10-2. So, I mean, Texas, everybody calls it a down year, but really, is it truly? I mean, it's the SEC. I mean, I hate to keep coming back to the same horse to ride on, but, It's hard to beat all these teams week in and week out.
Texas is one of those teams that's like, if you stay inside the top four of the conference, you're good. And
Hey,
then we're
I
going to go,
think that.
yeah, we're going to talk about the Duke Mayo Bowl on January 2nd at 7 p.m. It brings us the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest, who are 8-4. And then a surprising team that got in a 5-7 Mississippi State Bulldogs team.
Oh man, yeah, that is surprising. And honestly, like at the beginning of the season, I really was almost starting to buy in the hype of Blake Shapen. I mean, at times he really shined. He really did. And I mean, yeah, what'd you say, 5-7? I mean, there's
Five and
really a
seven.
lot. A lot of those games, they were there at the end of the game. Having opportunities. Just a couple plays away.
Like me and Marty talked all season. I said, I'm going to run with this Mississippi State Bulldogs team until they get their sixth win, until they get bowl eligible. And I think they deserve it. I think they've had a great turnaround this season with Jeff Levy. Marty's on. He said, "What's up?" But they've had a great season. What kind of hurt them was Fluff Bopple going down mid tier of the season. Blake Shapen kind of bringing back the rust, but Kamario Taylor is probably one, I won't say the best backup inside the SEC, but he is a good backup for Mississippi State. And if he can pull the reins next year, I think he will be a good, solid quarterback for Mississippi State. He's that dual threat guy. If you can keep Fluff and keep some of these core guys in here for Mississippi State, you could be looking at a 7-win season for Mississippi State.
Like you said, I mean, they really did turn their season around. I mean, because last year, I think they only won one game last
They
season.
won two. They
Two.
won
I
two.
mean, it don't seem 2-5, yeah, but I mean, the competitive of what they're doing on the field is what I look at.
Yeah.
Eye test, what you call it,
Was that?
the eye test.
Yeah. Well,
No more fight.
you go from, was it 2-10 or so, whatever it was, or 2-12, I don't know. But you win two games, and you were getting beat bad last year.
Yeah, single handedly.
But then you go 5-7 on the cusp of a bowl, but get a bowl because some teams opt out. Um, Glad for them though. Don't care how you get it; they're still playing in a bowl game. But then you're so close to winning these games throughout the season, and heartbreakers that you had lost. Uh, um, 41-34 against Tennessee, 21-23 against Florida, 38-45 against Texas, which you should have beat them. And the last three games they kind of got away from them: 21-41 over Georgia, 49-27, or 27-49 against Missouri, and then 39-18 against Ole Miss. The last three games kind of got away from them, but those others, they're there. You win one of those, you're already in a bowl, solidifying your game. But the on-field presence this year for them, I think, took a whole shift and turned in their favor. And Jeff Levy could have this team. I'm not saying, like I said, not saying great, but 7 wins. They finally got his first SEC victory this year, which was great.
I mean, the Ole Miss and Georgia's to be expected, though. Honestly, I mean,
No.
they're at the top of the SEC. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. So you can't expect them to win that one. That's one of those Cinderella stories. I mean, Missouri should have got away as it did, probably not. But I mean, like you said, the other three games that they were right in the mix of late in the game. I mean, like you said, you win one or two of those games, you start changing the momentum of your program. That gives you the hype and the momentum moving forward and saying, hey, look, and you tell your recruits, look, we're right there.
Yeah, because, you could have been a Florida team. You beat a ranked Tennessee and a ranked Texas in the same year. So what that puts you at? Well, you're 5-7 now. You win those two. Say you lose the Florida game, that puts you at 7-5. I mean, and having those two big wins, that's a win.
Oh, yeah, respect. I would respect.
Duke's Mayo Bowl now, Charlotte, North Carolina, They play the Demon Deacons, who are 8-4, led by Robbie Ashford.
But see, that's like you were talking, like the Tennessee game. That's almost a home field advantage. I mean, that's almost a home field advantage for Wake Forest. I mean, that's close on their turf than it is Mississippi State. I haven't watched much of Wake Forest this year, so I really don't know much about the team as a whole.
Well, Robbie Ashford's quarterback. 9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, about 2,200 yards on this season. Got a running back that's got 907 yards. That's about it. Your DB's making most of the tackles at 95 tackles on the season.
I mean, Robbie Ashford, I mean, his stat line sounds about like what he was at Auburn. You know what I mean? 9 touchdowns, 7 receptions. You ain't showing me nothing. So,
Mississippi State's actually favored in this game by 58%.
The 58%, so there's -3.5.
-3, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, right on top of it. I mean, I could see it being that way, but a part of me says, Mississippi State can, if everybody's playing healthy, if Buffalo's playing and Blake Shapen don't commit any turnovers, I could see it getting out 17 plus.
That is true, but then you're also on the other hand of, are they going to play Mississippi State football? Or are they going to play this, we're going to let you stay in the game, and then you end up winning at the end of the game, like the 3 games we talked about earlier?
Yeah, I mean, you are right. That's how they finished their season, with 3 blowout losses. That real heartbreak. But, then again, you've had the last 3 weeks off to get healthy, 4 weeks, whatever it's been. I mean, this is the healthiest you're going to be to finish the season out.
All right, so how you taking this one?
I say Mississippi State -12.
I'm going to take them at 6. I like Mississippi State. I really do. I've liked them all year. I like Robbie Ashford, but I'm going to take Mississippi State here at 6. All right, so now we're getting into the big games. We're going to talk about college football quarterfinal matchups. We're starting off on December 31st with the Cotton Bowl Classic. That's number 10 Miami playing in Arlington, Texas, versus number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I probably caught flack for the disrespect I gave Miami last time we were on the podcast talking about them, because I said Texas A&M was going to walk all over them. And it was the complete opposite. It was a well defensive game, if that's what we choose to call it. Lack of offense. But I will say at least Miami went into Kyle Field, took in the heat, took in the hype of the crowd, the yelling, back and forth. So I don't think they're going. I think they have the opportunity. But it's Ohio State. Ohio State's always going to get the hype 9 times out of 10. I don't know. I really don't.
So we're sitting at a 70% chance for Ohio State in this game. I like the way Miami's defense came to play. Again, if we call it that. But, they do got some former Auburn players on their team, so I kind of pull for their defense more than I should. But Ohio State does have Jeremiah Smith. Ohio State does have Cardell Tate. And they have Julian Sand, Bo Jackson, and what's the other guy? I can't think of the tight end's name. But then on the other hand, Carson Beck, Fletcher Jr., and Tony. Again, like we talked about last week, it's going to be which group of these 3 core guys are going to show up.
Hey, Fletcher Jr. looks like he could be a number 1 running back in the NFL for several years.
He looked good. He looked real good. And on that back with Kente Scott on Miami, I don't know how you do it. He goes from Auburn making like 4 tackles, and then now he's making 10 tackles a game. I don't get it. Just poor Auburn defense at that point. But back to the game, Ohio State's good.
But you also don't have to worry about weather neither, being inside the
Jerry Dome.
Yeah. Weather's not going to be a factor.
They're going to keep it a crisp 60 degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be prime time football weather inside that dome. So that's another thing. I mean, honestly, we've said it numerous times. Who commits the least?
And that's the question here. Like, I'm going underdog. I think Ohio State can do it, but I think I'm going to go Miami 3.
See, I'm not trying to disrespect Miami, but let's look at Carson Beck's track record of big time games. Now, he didn't do it this past game he played. I'll give him respect there. But
His defense did it, let's be real.
yeah, he didn't make dumb decisions. I guess that's the way I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But he does get in tendencies when he gets down big. He tries to start forcing throws, and that's when the interceptions come. And here comes Caleb Downs, the University of Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look like see the slot and you can either go into the other direction, it's kind of hard to.
So I will say Ohio State -7.
The line's sitting at -9 for that game.
Okay. I don't think it's far off.
I really don't. I think Miami's going to have a little chip on their shoulder after being doubted for both games and come in with a little bit more this game. So then we're going to New Year's Day in the Capital One Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, Hard Rock Stadium. Number 5 Oregon versus number 4 Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Man, that's about as neutral side as it gets. Oh man. Yeah, Oregon blew James Madison out. We saw that coming, but giving up 28 points in the second half alone to James Madison, that's not going to cut it against Texas Tech. That's just not. Texas Tech is going to blow you out the water. That's the style of defense you're going to play. It could be one of those games we've seen in years past, and one of these big hop games, a 56-50 final score, and it could be a shootout.
Yeah. Or it could also be one of those games where we're hyping up that this could be a defensive battle and it could be 51-10.
They did say at the beginning of the season, Texas Tech spent a lot of money in NIL.
Yeah.
It's really showing. I mean, they at least they're there. I mean, again, they haven't played nobody really, realistically, but I mean, they're in the situation where they're on the big stage at the big time. Is put up or shut up at this point.
No, and like you said, quote unquote, play anybody. You played two ranked teams so far. One of them played twice. BYU, I think, could be overrated. And then Utah, who was ranked 16 early in the season, who were overrated. So, and then you're playing Oregon State and Houston and Kansas and Oklahoma State and UCF and West Virginia. And yay, good for you. You won your conference. That's great. But your conference is so weak, going back to the conversation we had earlier, your conference is so weak that somebody's got to win.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like you don't have Cam Scatterbo and Sam Leggett running through with Arizona State. There's nobody in your conference. That's why BYU did so good this year. No, I'm not saying BYU is a bad team. They did get. They came back and won that game, didn't they? Against Georgia Tech. They
Yes.
sure did. They sure did.
Yeah, they 25-21, something like that.
That's crazy. It got ugly there for a second. But, Utah's not good right now. Houston's not good right now. Arizona hasn't been good. Noah Fafita needs to go on somewhere. Arizona State's down. Kansas State's down. TCU's down. Baylor's down. UCS down. Colorado's trash. Oklahoma State's trash. West Virginia's down. Somebody's got to win somewhere. You know what I mean? So, don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, what's his name? Matt Campbell, the head coach of Iowa State. They build him up every single year, talking about how they're going to have a good defense and Iowa State's going to be this, that, and the third, but they never show up. They never do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who does Big 12 have that's going to take the golden spot? It's going to be the team that probably spends the most NIL, and that's what Texas Tech did. They spent the money. So, I mean, somebody's got to come out of it eventually. But Oregon hasn't been the Oregon of years past neither. I mean, Dante Moore put up, some video game numbers this year, but who does he really have wide receiver wise that can go out and be your number one guy that takes over a game if need be? It ain't Malik Benson.
Like I said, we talked about that last week. It wasn't Malik Benson. Now, Malik Benson had some good plays in this game last week. But again, you're playing James Madison. You're playing Springville Elementary. Congratulations. You done your job. But you don't have that number one wide receiver. Now, I'm not saying that Texas Tech has that either. But you don't have the Jeremiah Smiths. You don't have the Jeremy Bernards. You don't have the Cam Colemans of the world. R.I.P. Cam Coleman. See you next year, wherever you go. But you don't have that. You have a Malik Benson who a constant third in the ACC, if that. So
he would honestly, if he was on Alabama right now, he'd probably be the number 5 option. I mean, let's be honest. He would be the 5th option. You got Jermaine Bernard, Isaiah Horton,
Rico Scott, Ryan Williams.
Yeah. And Lazier Brooks. Then the tight end. I can't. It's slipping my mind. I can't think of his dog. Yeah. So I mean, he would be like the number 6 or 7 option, and that's why he left Alabama. I mean, I don't blame him to go get you some playing time and get you TV time. You got to go where you can get your time to play.
All right. So how do you see this one ended?
So in Florida, neutral side as it gets. Texas Tech is probably spreads -6.5.
-2.5 for Oregon.
No kidding, really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, still ain't gonna change my mind. I say -7 Texas.
Yeah, Texas Tech is actually 51% chance in favor of ESPN. Oregon is 2.5 via Vegas. I'm gonna take the Ducks as much as I don't want to. I'm gonna take the Ducks by 1.
By 1. Oh man.
I'm gonna take the Ducks by 1. 3-2.
I would say you reckon that one comes off of a missed field goal? Because we had a lot of missed field goals.
Yeah. And then we're going to jump the Alabama game. We're going to save that one for last. And then we're going to talk about the All-State Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, Louisiana, between the 6th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels versus the 3rd-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. 7 p.m. New Year's Day.
Man, it was a shootout the first go round, but that was with Lane Kiffin. But they say Pete Golden was talking to smack. Well, it just shows that Wise Jr. really calls offense because they put up the same amount of Tulane. It's Tulane.
Right.
It ain't Kirby Smart. Well, I mean, let's just be honest. Shoot, I mean, honestly, I think he probably gets away and it gets away ugly in the 3rd quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I think Georgia just does Georgia things.
I agree. I think Georgia has the better team all season. They've showed it. First time they played them, that was with Lane Kiffin on the other side. Lane Kiffin's not over there to bail out Pete Golden this time, or Charlie Weiss, or anybody. When they make a mistake, they're going to make a mistake on their own. And I think Georgia's going to capitalize on that. Kirby Smart's a smart coach. Coming from the Saban tree and whatnot. Pete Golden, yes, quote unquote, comes from the Saban tree, but as a lost branch. Let me just say that.
That limb fell down.
Yeah. I think Kirby Smart and Georgia Bulldogs win this game. I think Gunnar Stockton probably throw for about 300 yards. Nate Frazier, if he's healthy, whoever the running back is, he's going to run for 150. I like Georgia big. I like Georgia by 17.
At least. I mean, you seen how they treated Alabama the last game they played.
Yeah.
They just whooped us like a red-headed stepchild, and they've had the last 3 weeks off ever since that game. So all they have is ammunition and time to rest up and get well. That's all they've had time to do. So,
Right.
I mean, I agree. I think it gets out of hand ugly. I mean, the spread on Vegas is probably a -6, something along them lines.
And a half.
But
6.5.
okay, so and I agree with you. I think it can get out to +20 by the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So we're both going Georgia. I don't think Ole Miss has a shot. I really don't. I mean, it will shock me if Ole Miss somehow wins that game. Again, if this was under Lane Kiffin, if they let Lane Kiffin, finish out his tenure, maybe it'd be a different story. I really don't think so. But I wouldn't put 17 points on it.
Yeah, I mean, even I think if Lane Kiffin was there, I mean, I would say probably a -3 Georgia because it's hard to beat the same team twice in a year. We know that in the SEC. It's visible to on. But, again, Lane Kiffin is just always that X factor because you just never know what Lane Kiffin's going to do.
Right. And now we're going to the big one. 3 o'clock, New Year's Day, in Pasadena, California, the Rose Bowl, which Alabama, I think, is not so good in the Rose Bowl. I don't really know Alabama's history inside the Rose Bowl. But
we got spanked the last time we were in it against Michigan.
Okay, there we go. 9th ranked Alabama, 11-3 versus the number 1 ranked 13-0 Indiana Hoosiers. Via ESPN, Indiana has them as a 71% favorite.
71, so 71, that's got to be a -6.5 on Indiana.
-7 for Indiana.
Okay, I'm ballparking, baby. I don't know. As much as I want to say Indiana is probably a real well-rounded team. Kurt Sudnetti came out of the Alabama branch way back when. They're probably healthier than Alabama. They've been more well-rested, but I hate to say it, who have you played besides Ohio State?
No, I definitely agree. I think, a couple weeks ago when we was talking about Alabama and Oklahoma, how I felt Alabama's chances were very low because, Oklahoma and where I feel Alabama's chances against Indiana are very high. I think if there was a team to beat Alabama, and probably until Georgia, let me say this, until Georgia in the national championship, it would have been Oklahoma. I think if they beat Indiana here, I think they go and play the winner of Oregon and
Texas
Tech in Georgia next in a couple weeks. Okay, I think Alabama again there, and then it would be another rematch against Alabama and Georgia, which people are probably tired of singing, but I love that game every time it's played. It's one of the best games because you had the last year when Ron Williams made that amazing catch, and Alabama takes them down this year, and then Georgia gets their revenge. You never know how the game's going to go.
You don't, but it's like I listened to a guy on a podcast. He's a huge Indiana fan. He's got it written across his dang. Man, I'm telling you, it fires me up every time I listen to that guy speak just because he is such a super fan but can't see out of his own rear end.
He's got his Indiana goggles on.
Yes, and it drives me absolutely nuts, and that's fine. If that's the guy you want to be it. See it all the way through, but when Alabama puts these hands on you, you better say, well, you know what? They proved me wrong. Because that's what's going to happen. I mean, Alabama has been battle tested. They got healthy coming out of Georgia, going into playing Oklahoma, and you've seen it. Just getting back to tight end was just a huge plus by itself.
Yeah.
And, the offensive line got healthy too. We got two starting offensive linemen back too. So we started running the ball a little bit better in the third quarter, somewhat in the fourth, but
the thing, what still kills me about Alabama, now correct me if I'm wrong, Oklahoma still outgained them in that game.
I think they outgained us in the first half, but the second half it was completely lopsided. And
I'll check it.
Statistically, I visual it seemed that way because
Oklahoma outgained Alabama by 102 yards
in the second half.
In the whole game.
in the whole game. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that just because they threw a flurry of points and yards in the first
right.
20 minutes of the game. Then, Alabama just they got I hate to use the word lucky, but they did. They threw up 10 points quick at the end of the second quarter, and they got I don't know who John Mateer was throwing to when Zabion Brown got that pick six because there was nobody around Zabion Brown when he caught it.
I was throwing it to
So
him. That's who he was throwing it to.
I guess, and so part of me, I hate to say, was that a part of rigging the game to get it back and tied up because there was just really nobody truly there. But going in 17-17 at half really done a number for Alabama to gain the confidence. And
Right.
honestly, when Alabama went down 17-0, I said they're about to fire Kalen DeBoer, and
Well,
they're gonna leave his butt in Norman, and he's gonna have to walk home.
I was just surprised Connor Talton kicked the field goal and he actually went through the uprights.
Yeah, especially watching that Texas A&M and Miami game. I said, did they have Alabama's kicker out there on the field? Because this is insanity that they were missing so many field goals.
It was pretty bad. But I think this one, like I said, you beat Ohio State, which it was a good game, but it was low scoring. But then again, you're not playing. You about lost to Penn State. And Penn State had a bad year.
Horrible.
I mean, you're throwing 50 points on these teams, and I'm kind of stat padding for Fernando Mendoza, who won the Heisman. Congratulations! I think he did kind of deserve it. He had an excellent year. 33 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,980 yards. That's great. But again, you're not playing nobody. Now you're about to play Alabama. Statistically, the second, yeah. Well, the standings say the fourth best team in the SEC, but we really know they're the second best team in the SEC. So you're about to play the second best team in the SEC, and they're about to dog stomp you. I think Alabama's gonna put it on them.
I mean, honestly, man, you truly go back and rewatch that Oklahoma game. And once Alabama's offense could stay on the field for a decent amount of time, you could see their defense started picking up pace just because they were able to catch their wind of themselves. They couldn't get off the field. The positioning of the ball on the field was completely in Oklahoma's favor for the first quarter and a half of the game. Alabama's defense was backed up at their own 40, almost every single possession until halftime, what it seemed like at least. So, with just Alabama being able to offense stay on the field, run some clock, get their defense rest, from that point on, they only scored 7 points.
Yeah.
They only gave up that one more touchdown. So if Alabama's offense can figure out time management and being able to run the ball a little bit and, make them little check down passes, cool. But we did start seeing Ty Simpson find his swagger in that second half when he was actually making some downfield throws, not no 5-6 yard hitch route passes off the middle of the field.
Like you said, that helped having Josh Cuevas on the field to open up, everybody outside.
He made that route right up the middle of the gut, and Ty Simpson made a dot in between 3 defenders. I was like, okay, we're starting to see Ty Simpson back. This is the guy we've been seeing for majority of the season. And Cuevas is just that X factor because everybody's going to probably double up Bernard or single up on Horton and put their best guys on Horton and Bernard and maybe the third best on Williams. But Cuevas really is that X factor guy. If you can get about 70, 80 yards out of Cuevas in a game and maybe a touchdown,
Pretty
watch
good
out.
right there.
Yeah, watch out for the other guys.
So what you thinking here?
Stat line is probably Indiana -3.
Indiana's -7. We've already talked about that.
That is disrespectful. Oh man. I think it gets out Alabama -14. I think Alabama can stretch it out late.
Yeah, that's what I was going. -14, somewhere around there.
I think they stretch it out late. Maybe even a late fourth quarter field goal to put it up 17, maybe.
Now, if it goes the other way, I don't know. I don't see Indiana really having a chance. I don't think this will be one of the better games. I think probably the best game you probably can find. Miami, Ohio State, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I think the Texas Tech and Oregon might be interesting for a little bit, and I think Ole Miss and Georgia might be interesting for the first quarter.
Yeah. But
But I agree. think I think the Alabama Indiana might be close coming into half, somewhere around half. I think it might be a tail of the tape, but Alabama came in the second half against Oklahoma. I think that's going to be the telltale sign if they can do the same thing against Indiana. It gets stretched out and it gets stretched out good.
yeah, I think Alabama will kind of run away with the second half because, like you said, depth going into it. You
They
know,
got experience.
yeah, Alabama's depth is going to be different from Indiana's depth because Alabama's second string linebacker, second string lineman, you know, they played last year at like Tennessee or they still got SEC reps. You know what I mean? So it's gonna come down to depth. I think Alabama will win the depth battle.
Hey, and it's a huge sign, and I've seen it, and it hops me up. We getting LT Overton back on the
Yeah.
defensive line, and he's been out the last few weeks. Getting him back and healthy, and Kane Womack all over Twitter. He's back, and it's like you tag him up
Keenan.
with yeah, Keenan Allen and Justin Jefferson and Deontay Lawson, you're just causing havoc. Call it what it is. And we're going to have them safety blitz coming off the edge, putting pressure. I feel like Fernando Mendoza is going to be sitting there running for his life the whole game.
We'll see. We'll find out. Oh, it is this week. This weekend.
Yeah, it'll be Thursday.
Yeah. I'll still get with you next time on the semifinals to come in, if you want. But that's all we got for you. I want to thank Tactical Home and Pest, thank Chuck Seaton and Air, the Dadpod, Hunter Brasfield, Nicholas Adams, HCS Media, Hayden Coker, live Thursdays, 7 p.m. from the Buffalo Wild Wings in Bell City, and the creative team, Marty, who's not here. I always get this one. Jud Dickinson, Brandon Trammell, and Cody Mailer. And we'll see y'all next week, next Tuesday, probably. I won't see you Sunday. Next Tuesday, around the same time, on the Interview Podcast. Stay safe, watch a lot of football, and come back ready for some more.